For most people I have met, the underhand version takes substantially longer than the overhand version. I'll try and go a little bit slower today. So first up, let's start with the one-handed drills. The one-handed drill for this one involves taking one of the poi, spinning it in underhand, and you have to be able to go do the side to side, home and away, which looks like this. Remember, when I say home, I mean on its own side, away on the other side. And when you're doing this motion with the other hand involved, you do 2 on the away side, 1, 2, and then 1 home. 1, 2, away, 1 home. 1, 2, away, 1 home. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. And then in relation to the other arm, it'll go under the arm, over the arm, and then back home. So under, over, home. Under, over, home. Under, over, home. Under, over, home. And we'll do 20 more. And 19, 18, 17, 16, and close your eyes and try and feel that motion in your body. And 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, and rock your body if that feels better to you. And 6 more, 5 more, 4 more, 3 more, last 2, and last 1. Now we're gonna wrap up that poi and do it with the other poi. So it's underhand, and you're going first side to side, home and away, and then you do 2 away, 1, 2, 1 home, 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 and then you'll go under, over, home, under, over, home, below the arm, above the arm, back to its own side, below, above, back to its own side, below, above, home, below, above, home, 1, 2, home, under, over, home, under, over, home, and we'll do 20 more, and 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Relax into your body and keep breathing while you're doing it. And 9 more. Feel free to sway if that helps. 7 more. Keep your eyes closed. 6 more. 5 more. 4 more. 3 more. Last 2. And last 1. And then what I want to do now is this technique I call drill sandwiching, where you do your weaker drill first, your weaker hand first, then your dominant hand, then your weaker hand. So we did 20 with each hand. Now I want you to pick whichever hand felt weaker to you, and my left is almost always weaker, but not always. So I'll demonstrate with my left, but you do whichever hand it is that's weaker for you, and we'll do another 20 with that hand. So you've gotten in twice as many reps at the end of these practices. And we'll start again going 2 away, 1 home, 2 away, 1 home, then under, over, home, under, over, home, under, over, home, under, over, home, and 20, and 19, stay relaxed, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11 more, 10 more, keep your eyes closed if you can, 9 more, 8 more, 7 more, 6 more, 5 more, 4 more, last 3, last 2, and last 1. When I'm running my classes, what I have people do before we try putting it together is they should be able to do 3 sets, eyes closed, without hitting themselves, and with a break in between each set. And at any point in time, if they hit themselves, they have to go back to the first repetition of the first set and repeat it, which just helps them get it. However, I've never seen somebody who could do, with both hands, the 3 sets of 50 with a break in between, with their eyes closed, not be able to get the weave. So that's a good metric for yourself. And it's about building up the muscle memory so that your body knows what to do without you having to think about it. Now, what I did a couple of days ago in the live was we worked on this crossover where we had, in the same time, the right on top, and then we had the left on top. Then we did the 2-beat weave. When you do the 2-beat weave in underhand, the first hand crosses over the other hand, and the second hand crosses under. So first hand over, second hand under. I'm leading with my right hand, right over, left under, right over, left under, right over, left under, right over, left under, right over, left under. And then you can do it continuously where the right one is leading, the left one is coming underneath it. And then the other version is where the left leads and the right goes under. So it's left over, right under, left over, right under, which would look like this. Left over, right under, left over, right under, left over, right under, left over, right under, left over, right under. Now, to put it together into the weave, let's start first with just the hand motion. We'll lead with the right hand. So the right hand will go over. The left hand will come under. Now, for the underhand version, you take the top hand, bring it home, shoot it underneath, and then, now this is what gets hard for people, when you get it to the other side, you have to push down and forward, which is sort of an awkward motion. I don't think it's as intuitive as pulling in toward yourself, which is what would happen if you were doing the overhand weave. So you're pushing down and away from you. Then you're going to take your top hand, which is now the other hand, the left hand, bring it home, come under and push down and forward like that. And then you take your top hand, bring it home, underneath, push down and forward. Top hand, bring it home, go underneath, push down and forward. Top hand, bring it home, go underneath, push down and forward. And just doing it like this, where you have it really short, but you're going in slow motion, you're not even trying to maintain the momentum of the movement, can really help you get the sense of what the overall flow of the hands is. Then we'll take the left hand, bring it home, go underneath, push down and forward. The right hand comes home, underneath, push down and forward. Left hand, home, underneath, down and forward. Right hand, home, underneath, down and forward. Left hand, home, underneath, down and forward. Right hand, home, underneath, down and forward. Left home, underneath, down and forward. Right home, underneath, down and forward. Left home, underneath, down and forward. Right home, underneath, down and forward. Left home, underneath, down and forward. Right home, and then the left hand, and then whichever hand you have on top. So ignoring my words, it's your top hand home, underneath. Top hand home, underneath. Top hand home, underneath. Push down and forward on the other side. Top hand home, underneath. Top hand home, underneath. And all you do is, and by the way, anytime I say all you do is, that's me mocking how I was taught the weave. This is how I was taught the weave. Well, you just this, and then you do this, and then all you do is this. It was the most uninstructive education I had ever received. I learned I had no real distinction other than knowing I had to go from same time to split time, but they didn't even use the words for it. It was literally a demonstration. So I effort to make linguistic distinctions. Every time I say all you do is, what I'm mocking is the unconscious competence that we all experience when we know something really well. So all you do is, when you're doing the weave and underhand, you're taking the top hand home, underneath, pushing down and forward. While you leave the other hand there, take the top hand home, underneath, push it down and forward when you cross the second time. You bring the top hand home, cross it underneath, push down and forward while you leave the other hand there. Take the top hand home, cross it underneath, push down and forward. And then here's a couple of hints that may be helpful. If when you cross to the other side, whichever hand it is, it's hitting you like that, or like this, or like that, anything like that, you're not getting it wide enough. You have to get it past your hip line in order to ensure that it doesn't hit. Another very common thing that happens is people forget to leave the hand that isn't crossing there, right? So in order for my top hand to go under the other hand has to stay there, right? This hand has to stay here the whole time while this hand comes underneath. Now, this hand has to stay here while this hand comes underneath. So you have to leave it there in order to achieve the aspect of it where it goes under the other hand. Another common thing that happens when people are doing underhand is this. I've seen this with hundreds, if not thousands of students, so this is not abnormal in my opinion. With overhand, because you're coming down, people tend to keep their hands lower. With underhands, because they're going up, what ends up happening is people end up doing this business up here, or they're like way wide out here. What's useful is to try and remember that you're trying to hug yourself close and keep these poi close to you and come in low and tight. So the recommendation, if you can do it, is to try and keep your hands between the top of your armpit and your waist when you're starting out, so that you don't slip up like this at face height and you don't slip forward. And then also try and keep the elbows bent so that if you thought about this in terms of ergonomics, and this would be ergonomically neutral. You have a nice 90-degree angle and it's in line with your body. This is where you're starting to apply a different sort of pressure on the arm. If you keep it in line with the body, and by in line I mean the first segment of the arm from the shoulder to the elbow. So you keep it here in this sort of posture instead of reaching forward. That can really help you have more control, even though you have to have better control when the poi comes underneath the other hand. So if I'm moving my top hand underneath, I have to have enough control to be able to bring it home and go underneath the other hand and be able to aim it down and forward when I'm crossing to the other side. The movement happens way faster than you can really think. What you have to try and do is, as the poi crosses to the other side, so this is for overhand, as the poi crosses to the other side, you hit the arm, and that's the cue to move the bottom arm. Cue to move the bottom arm. So move the arm out of the way by hitting it when the other arm crosses, and then just trust the cue of the arm. So in overhand, you could practice that like this. Bottom hand home, cross over, push the arm, bottom hand home, cross over, push the arm. And if you push the arm each time, you can use that as your cue. In underhand, it's the same sort of thing, only it's when you bring the top hand home and cross underneath, so if you can get to here, and then you can get to here, the cue is when you come from underneath, push your hand up, push your hand up, push your hand up. So you're pushing your hand up in underhand instead of down from overhand. It's the same sort of cue. And again, you can practice it like this. Your arms are crossed like this. You take the top hand home, cross it underneath, push it up. Top hand home, cross it underneath, push it up. Top hand home, push it up. Top hand cross, top hand home, cross underneath, push it up. Top hand home, cross underneath, push it up. And you keep using that cue until you no longer have to think about it and your muscle memory kicks in. If you just started it now, and this is the first time you've done this under-over home drill with each hand, you may not have enough muscle memory for the muscle memory to kick in, so more of those drills will really help. Again, cannot emphasize enough, I have never had a student be able to do 3 sets of this, eyes closed, without hitting themselves, if their clothes or anything, where they couldn't actually get the move when they could do that with both hands. So if you're not able to do that yet, then you might not be able to do the move yet.